He leaves. He goes back to Miami.
Okay.
And here comes the Dr. Frankenstein character.
Okay.
Okay, so his name is El Doctor Alvieri, which I found I love that name.
Alvieri?
Alvieri, yeah. So Alvieri, he is actually introduced in the very first scene in the novella. The first scene is essentially this, almost like a montage or like a slideshow of cloning that explains the process of cloning.
Okay.
And then it's him giving a presentation to maybe a cohort of scientists, and then he's explaining how the cloning process works. And that he essentially, it sounds like he's being paid to do this work, or at least some of his funding is coming from Leonardo Ferrer, because the Ferrer family, the reason they're rich is that they import and export produce and livestock.
Okay.
And so they want to fund cloning of livestock for their company. And so Alvieri, he has this friendship with Leonardo Ferrer, and then Alvieri is actually the godfather of the two twins of Lucas and Diego.
Okay.
So Alvieri's giving this presentation, and he's talking about cloning, and he mentions but of course we will only go so far as ethics allow. And then everyone's like, yeah, woo. And then they show this alternate version of the same presentation where it's Alvieri, his imagination of how he would have wanted this conference to go.
Okay.
And it's him giving the presentation and then explaining how human cloning is happening. And then he goes and I've cloned the first, we've proven that human cloning is possible and it is successful. And then everyone's like, whoa, cheering him on, right?
Okay.
Because ultimately what you're seeing is that he only is held back by the opinion, he doesn't want to get kicked out of the scientific community, but deep down he wants to push science as far as he can take it, and if it's up to him, he would have no problem with human cloning.
Okay.
He actually really wants the adulation of being the first person to do it.
Okay.
So while Diego and Lucas are in Morocco, that's when Alvieri, who is their godfather, he's there too. And he's there because he's going to go see his good friend, El Tío Ali, Ali.
Okay.
So Ali and Alvieri are just longtime friends.
Okay.
And so he's like, hey, Lucas, you want to come with me to go visit my friend? He's like, yeah, cool. And so they go, and that's the meeting scene where the two lovers first see each other. So Lucas goes to, this man's house, and it's a very traditional Muslim household.
Okay.
And then he just starts wandering around the halls. And at this same time was when Jade had just moved in. And so she's learning all the customs, and she's they're showing her oh, this is our this is how we do the dances, and these are, the stuff we wear for our husbands, because we all want to get husbands, that. This is, all the cool, things you have to look forward to when you're married.
Okay.
So then she tries on this, beautiful outfit, right? The belly dancing outfit, essentially. And so she's got the veils on, and she is doing this really cool dance, which Lucas happens upon when he's walking through the hallway. And he's a young man who's looking for love. He's, and so he wanders through and he sees this hot ass girl, barely dressed, but in not a Miami way, in a more culturally fetishized way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And so he is in love, right? He sees her dancing, and then the moment she sees him.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead with that. I'm going to interject after this, though.
Yeah, so she sees him, and then her veil drops because she's startled. And so that's when their eyes meet for 20 minutes. And then they're everyone sees him, and they're oh my God, a man.
Yeah.
And then they rush her off, and and Alvieri's what the fuck are you doing? You just go walking around in
into
a Muslim
somebody's house. Yeah. Okay.
And he actually just he does say would you go walking around in somebody's house in Miami? No, that's just a weird thing to do.
Who does
no matter
that?
where you are. Yes, you saw the scene.
So yes, okay. That answers, I guess, my first question that I was who is this guy that he's just walking around somebody's house? But, because I was well, this is creepy. Who does that? Okay. But can we just address the fact that in this scene where he sees her for the first time, there is literally a like see-through curtain that's paper thin and nobody sees him there. Like literally nobody sees him.
Yeah.
As she's dancing the whole time. These like 3 women are in there. Like, oh, and she's dancing and she's doing her thing and like nobody sees him until she happens to like drop her veil.
Well, he was very sneaky, I guess.
You can only suspend your disbelief for so long.
I know.
I'm just saying.
But they were, she was doing, they didn't expect someone to be there. And she was very like doing her dancey
I guess.
thing.
And from that scene too, so like you just said, like a very culturally like
fetishization.
Right. Yeah, I was very much like, okay, I'm getting very strong Princess Jasmine vibes right here.
Yes.
Like that's literally what the outfit looks like that she has on. And I wondered a little bit if that was intentional or not, because it's literally the same color.
I didn't even think about that. But yeah, it is almost the exact
It's like
same.
An exact replica for the most part, like
with
the
like
real version.
Just like more gold.
More gold,
like things that make sound.
Yes, yes, like the little, chains and stuff.
Yeah, the shell. Yeah. But yeah, it is the Princess Jasmine. You're right.
It totally is. That's exactly what I thought. It was like, oh, okay. And then on that note, not to sound like an asshole, but I know people who actually do this kind of dancing, and I was like, this is not it. Like, if we're gonna do this, can we at least get some source material to pull from? I mean, again, it's a novela, but I was just like...
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure they just had, like, a choreographer. Like, I don't think they had, like, a culturally relevant or culturally specific dancer on set, I don't think they did, like, a whole lot of legwork.
I mean, I'm sure they didn't have, like, the budget for it, but it was literally, like, she was just grinding the air.